Hi, it's me, Liberty, and I'm back with another message. This topic is going to be on religious trauma and sexual abuse again. I have several different topics, as usual, that I'm trying to form a solid thought that's respectful. So I'm just going to go for it because Spirit has been telling me to get this message out for over a year now, and I have stalled because I'm like, I don't know how to put this out here without getting me in trouble. Or getting a target on my back. The biggest thing for me, I had a conversation with my friend over the weekend, and she is reading a book about pedophile. It's called Conversations with a Pedophile. And she was explaining to me that in the book, the pedophile would not see the person as a human. They would see them as a means to an end, a sexual end. And that really, it triggered something in me because, you know, the last relationship I had, they didn't see me as a human. They couldn't see my feelings. They were like so cold and detached, and literally told me that they had to be cold and detached because they didn't want me to manipulate them or whatever. And like, manipulation is the last thing I want to do. I put my words out here to try to prevent people from being able to manipulate other people. So like, it was a total mind fuck. But the fact was, he never saw me as a human. He never saw my feelings as valid. And literally, if I brought up my feelings, I was dismissed. I was given the silent treatment. Like, I was told I'm being critical. And that clued me. I was like, okay, like that rang a bell when she mentioned that, because I had felt that way too. And then it also brought up another red flag from another person that I had recently dated. And it just put the two things together for me that I'm probably not going to make sense to anyone else, but it makes sense to me. But the last person that I tried to date, they made a lot of sex jokes. And, you know, at first when they made the sex jokes, I told them, hey, I'm a childhood sexual assault survivor. Like, please don't make sex jokes like that. And they kept doing it. And, you know, I'm like, ooh, this person is pushing boundaries. And then they tried to justify it as, oh, they're just dad jokes. And I'm to the point now where I'm calling stuff out now. So I told them, you know, that's actually a sex joke, not a dad joke. A dad joke is a joke you could tell to 4-year-old little girls. Like, would you really tell that joke to a 4-year-old little girl? And then once I had that conversation this weekend, it like threw off the alarm bells and the red flags and everything kind of molded together about how there are so many pedophiles in our society. And they might not even be pedophiles. They might just be predators. But either way, like, we have to protect ourselves. And we have to protect our young people, like, because they don't have the protections that we have had. And like, especially those of us that have been through trauma after trauma after trauma. Like, we learn when we heal how to spot this stuff early on. And that's another point that I was going to make about spotting the predators and how victim blamers are often predators in disguise. And hear me out on this. People that will victim blame us, like, we feel shame when someone says, well, you know, what were you wearing? Or what did you say to him that made him do blah, blah, blah. We already tend to put that shame on ourselves and try to figure out what we did wrong, what we could do different, without realizing that the person that is blaming us is actually showing us that they see vulnerability as a negative. They see naivety as a negative. They see that anything that is soft or loving or feminine or, you know, just innocent, they see that as a negative, as something worthy of abuse, as something worthy of being targeted. That's why a victim blamer is showing you that they are truly a predator. They're not, you know, preying on you at that moment. But they're showing you how they think. They think of vulnerability as worthy of abuse, as, oh, you were naive. Oh, you loved that person. Oh, joke's on you. You deserve to be abused. You should have chose better. Or, didn't you see the red flags? So that, so all of this kind of coincides with the religious trauma and how these predators are allowed access to so many people that they should not have access to. And it's because the church teaches us to worship men, to worship the penis, to worship the male god. Like they don't have male god and female god. No, they took female completely out of it. If you go back to the religious origin story, it's man blaming a woman for something. Like it goes back to the beginning that man is blaming woman for something and saying that she is the manipulative one or the dangerous one, when that's fucking projection, literal projection. The men are out here raping people, murdering people, mass murdering people. And so many more men attack women and children and men than women attack the other way around, and usually the damage is so much worse too. Like, I'm not going to say that men are not victims. Like, there are true male victims, and it's shitty and should not happen. But the level of violence, the level of mortality is so much higher with male violence against anyone versus female violence against someone. But the church literally has perpetuated this from they literally took away a female god and only have a male god. You're only allowed to worship the penis. Okay, so what does that leave for women and children? That leaves us as victims, as prey for these people. They come in and they can say, oh yeah, I believe in loving other people. I believe in this. Look at how they treat women. Look at how they treat children. Like, look at these men out here right now celebrating us not getting paid, us not being able to feed our kids right now, us being worried about how we're going to afford food. They're out here cheering like, yay, look what we did. We took away women's security. Now they have to fuck us for food. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is so predatory, and it is so it's everywhere now. And I'm so ashamed that these religious people just keep perpetuating this and not stopping it. They just keep allowing these predators into their church, into their homes, into their families, everything. And just, he's got a penis, let's worship him. Nope, don't say anything negative. And the fact of the matter is these men, they're not attracted to women. They are literally psychologically homosexual. They do not like women as people, as humans. They don't see us as literal beings with needs and wants and feelings and goals and dreams. And they just see us as a means to a sexual end. Like, what can I get out of this person? And how can I get it as fast as I can? And how can I tear them down in the process so that they can't find something better? So that they can't so they can't get away. Like, that's the thing, is they will literally tear us down mentally, thinking that we won't have the self-esteem to be like, you know what? I don't deserve this. It's better to be alone than to be treated like this. And the church will perpetuate this by telling us that we need to submit more. We need to love them more. We need to stay in these horrible marriages. We need to do what's best for the penis. And we're literally suffering as not only as a country, but as an entire world. Like, they are damaging society. They are damaging women and children. And women are the true creators. Women are the true nurturers. Like, without women, there would be no society. There would be no future generation. And so it makes no sense to me why these men hurt women so bad, why they hate us so bad that they sit here and they will literally psychologically and emotionally abuse us and then sexually be predators. It's mind-boggling to me, and I don't know how to stop it other than letting women and children know to spot everything we can, to start speaking up against these boundary pushers, and to notice when these men are coming up to us and making a sex joke. Like, this man has never met us in our entire lives. What makes him think that he can come up to us and say something sexual? Like, what is wrong with them? Like, you don't do that until you have an established intimate relationship with someone. Like, I used to think sex jokes were fun and games and haha, but now I'm like, I'm offended. Like, what makes you think that you can come up and sexually violate me like that? Because that's ultimately what a sex joke is to someone that has been so violated, that it reminds me so much of the violation, that when they do that, it's like, I feel violated. And like, now I recognize that and I'm like, whoa, like, I cut people off now quick. But not everyone has that background. Not everyone has that level of trauma and healing. So I feel like it's my mission to let people know that these men do not see us as humans. They do not see us as a partner potential, as a human to get to know, to connect with, somebody to just someone separate from us and able to have a healthy connection with. And I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how to stop this. I don't know how to change anything, because most of these people will not hear our pain. They won't listen to the damage they do to us, and they don't care. They don't see sexual violence as the literal violation and that it is. Like, it literally destroys us. Like, even worse than physical violence. Like, I've survived horrific physical violence and my body heals. Like, yeah, like, but mentally, like, we don't heal from this stuff. Like, it continues. And then we put ourselves in positions to be violated even more because we're used to. And that's the messed up thing that I was realizing this weekend, is I'm so used to being molested and being sexually abused that when these dudes make sex jokes like that, I wasn't immediately offended and being like, whoa, like, it was what I was used to. So I was like, hey, like, yay. Or like, if they only respond to sexual comments, like, I was like, instead of, what the fuck, like, this is a predator. Like, so now I see these, sexual boundary violations are a predator's way to test us, to see, is she going to call me out on this? How far can I push it? And those of us with children really, really need to be mindful of this, because if our boundaries aren't strong with ourselves, how can we be the strength for our children? How can we protect the more vulnerable people? So this has been a decade of recovery work for me. And I feel like that last relationship literally knocked over my entire castle. Like, I really feel like, and I think that's giving him more power than he deserves to say that he undid a decade of recovery work. But, like, it really fucking hurt, guys. Like, but now I see, like, I was not seeing the red flags. And there are so many other red flags about that person that were so glaring and so gross. But that little part of me that was so traumatized as a child, like, that's what is attractive to, like, and it's sick, but that part of me is very, very attracted to predators. And I have to be very, very careful when I'm excited about someone, because that part of me gets, like, very childlike and very excited. And that tells me, hey, this is a warning. This is reminding you of something, and you need to be very careful because you've got young children. So even those of us that don't have young children, like it's still so important, because like you never know, you could have a niece or a nephew or a cousin or a friend or a neighborhood child. Like you could be helping someone else out just by letting someone know, hey, that's a red flag there. Hey, did you know that this is how predators do it? They will test your boundaries. They will make a sex joke and see how you respond. They will, when you set a boundary, they will cross it just to see how you respond. So as much as these men say, be my peace and we want peace, they're saying, we want to trespass on your boundaries. We want to abuse you, and we want you to say nothing about it. Because the church says that you're supposed to worship the penis. The church says you're supposed to submit to men. So that means you should just let me do whatever I want to do. And I'm sorry, no, not when you're harming other people. You can do what you want, just don't harm other people. Consent matters. And children cannot consent. And neither can, mentally challenged people and people under the influence. Like there are a myriad of ways that someone cannot be able to consent. Yeah. So ultimately, I think the message is that most of these predators are psychologically gay. They do not like women as humans. They don't see us as humans. They worship penis. And we really need to be mindful, especially of the victim blamers, because they are the predators that are hiding and then noticing when someone doesn't see our humanity, when someone only sees us as a means to a sexual end, and not as someone worthy of friendship or companionship. So, yeah, I ranted a lot about that, and I don't know. I really think that we should stop blaming women, that to see it as projection. Like, go back to the origin story and see that that's projection. That's men saying, oh, it was women. Women did it all. Women are the wrong ones. Yeah, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Good luck with that. I love y'all. Bye.